Cole.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. And again, welcome, Mr. Secretary. It's good to have you here. Um, I have some big questions I want to ask you, but I've got something that's important to me personally. It's smaller and more targeted, and want to give you an opportunity to respond. I know that you and I, and certainly the chairwoman, agree that our nation's students need more and better civics education. I'm deeply concerned by a Federal Register notice published last month by your department proposing competitive priorities for the national programs in civics. That proposal actually triggered just a blizzard, at least in my office, of bipartisan, and I want to stress bipartisan, critical response. It's effectively, in my view, jeopardizing civics as a bipartisan priority. And potentially jeopardizing a piece of legislation the chairwoman and I have worked on together for a long time. Specifically, the Federal Register notice references the 1619 project and the work of a controversial scholar. These references have politicized civic education, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and created an impression that the administration cannot be trusted to promote civic education in a bipartisan, non-ideological way. Civics education, in my view, ought to heal what divides our country. And this proposal, in my view, exacerbates that. In light of those concerns, would you, number one, explain the reference, if you're familiar with it, which I suspect you are, and then would you consider withdrawing the proposal pending further consideration?
So thank you for the question. You know, I came from the local district level. I was fortunate to serve as Commissioner of Education in Connecticut, and curriculum decisions are made there with local control, with input of local stakeholders and the community there. And that's where it should stay. The Education Department does not mandate curriculum, nor does it lean in one way or another. What it does do is provide parameters for grants to be submitted, clarity, so that those who are submitting grants can submit. Did you want to speak, Chairwoman DeLauro?
Yeah, well, again, I appreciate that.
I think Chairwoman DeLauro is going to ask someone to mute.
Yes, if I can, please, we're trying to, whoever is unmuted, please mute so that we can hear the testimony and the questions.
So, Congressman Cole, I'm going to be quick because I see your time is ticking. But I do feel, listen, I've been an educator for over 22, 23 years. It's critically important that our educators have voice in developing curriculum, because we know that curriculum should serve as a window and a mirror and a sliding door into their own experiences and other experiences, as Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop has taught us in education. So curriculum does a lot more. What it does is engage students, and students should always see themselves in curriculum as well. So I welcome seeing states come up with creative ideas on how to have students be seen in their curriculum, but do so in a manner that builds community. Educators can do that. We can build community under one flag by doing this, and I have complete confidence in the educators across the country that they can get it done.
Too. I used to be one, and my son's a public school teacher, so and I appreciate your remarks, by the way, honoring our teachers. But, you know, I am worried when something, and I agree with your statement, we should not be dictating curriculum at the federal level. That's not our role, it's not our responsibility. But when I see grant standards laid out in the 1619 project, which, you know, we can discuss at length, but it's very controversial. And I see a scholar, respected scholar, I'm sure, but again, controversial scholar. And those are sort of laid out. The impression left is, okay, we want a particular version or a particular kind of civics taught. And we're dictating. And I've had these people contacting me. I think you had 37 senators write you about this. Across the political, it's not Republicans. I actually had Democrats that are interested in civics education. This also raises issues. So I don't have a lot of time left. I certainly want to give you a chance to respond, and I certainly would welcome a further dialogue about it. I really want to flag this because I'm going to tell you, you know, the political opposition to what I consider a bipartisan bill and something we ought to be working on is growing, and it's growing across the political spectrum. And that registry notice has a lot to do with sparking this off.
Thank you. Thank you, Ranking Member Cole. I appreciate your perspective. I can assure you that I do want to work with you and others to listen to the different perspectives. And let me just underscore, our educational system, yes, we have a divided country, but our education system is going to unite us. Again, the goal here is to really build community, have students engage in their learning, and grow together. But thank you for your comments.
I agree with uniting. I'll just end with this. But that registry notice did not doing quite the opposite. So I would just ask you to review that. I would look forward to a further dialogue with you about it, because I don't want to lose a good piece of legislation. I think we're gonna over this issue. With that, Madam Chair, thank you. You've been very indulgent.